On Kochie's Business Builders, are you social media savvy? We're about to show you a simple strategy to stand out online. Plus, the single mum who turned a breakfast idea into a thriving international business. And the man who built the fastest ferry in the world. His top tips for business success. Hello and welcome to Kochie's Business Builders. How's your social media game? If you're not taking advantage of all platforms to promote your business, why not? Today, it's almost an essential part of doing business, building a tribe and attracting new customers. So we're about to meet an interior designer in Sydney. Haywood & Co has been operating for 2 years, but despite being in such a creative field, Liz Haywood admits her social media game is severely lacking. So we've found just the expert to help out. Liz Haywood loves what she does. The interior designer spends her days transforming homes into beautiful, functional spaces.
I have a range of clients that I work with, often sort of professional couples with children that just need to make their house functional and usable and be able to entertain in and have all the family around. And I also work with downsizers, so people are, their children have moved out of home and they're just starting fresh, into the next part of their life.
Haywood & Co has a website and is on Instagram, Facebook and Pinterest. But Liz doesn't really know how to best use the platforms to promote her business. So Stevie Dillon from Stevie Says Social is here to help.
So you're in a really creative industry. Do you have any photos of your designs?
I have a portfolio and a gallery, but it is actually something that's a little bit limited. Although I'm sort of around beautiful spaces each and every day, to actually capture all those images can be quite difficult. I'm obviously working with clients in their private space, in their residential homes, and I have to respect the privacy of my clients, and they don't always want their home captured and photographed. In addition to that, the projects I work on can take up to and over 12 months as well. So I am working in a long time frame, and there's obviously a huge cost involved in photographing a complete house as well. So there are limitations, and that means that I am limited to how many images I actually have on hand.
And you've received some awards as well.
I have actually. I was a top 10 finalist in a magazine competition called Australia's Most Beautiful Rooms, and so I was lucky enough to be a finalist in that competition.
Liz is clearly very good at what she does, but she wants to get known more broadly.
So let's talk about your social media game. How is it?
In one word, it's appalling. There is no game, there is no strategy, and it is definitely something that I need to work on and I need a lot of help with as well.
So at the moment, how often are you posting to Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook?
Look, it could be anywhere as a post a day, and it could be anywhere as low as a post a month. So, as I said, it's appalling.
So when it comes to a really killer social media strategy, there's basically 4 elements. So you'll need to start with a really cohesive brand that you basically amplify across all of your social media channels. The second thing that you need to have sorted is social media and content. So a really strong presence on the social media platforms where your ideal client is hanging out, and a content strategy that really engages them. The third thing that you need is a selling system. So at the end of the day, social media is a conversation starter rather than a deal closer. So you need to have a way to move people off social media into a platform that you own to sell to them. And the fourth is traffic. So you need to proactively get off your own social media accounts with things like Facebook advertising and collaborations, and actually go out to where your ideal client is hanging out.
How do I actually know where my audience is?
So that's a really good question. You can get a lot of insight from things like your Instagram insights. You can actually see who the demographic currently connected to your accounts are. And then there's some great resources online for actually finding out exactly where that demographic is hanging out and which social media channels that they're using.
Coming up, Stevie talks Liz through the ins and outs of a social media content strategy. A game plan is a must. Do you own a small business and love what you do? I know I do. And it seems a lot of small business owners agree with me. NAB's long-running Australian Wellbeing Survey has recently explored how owning or running a business impacts on wellbeing, and the results speak for themselves. Small business owners scored their wellbeing much higher than the average Australian. Their happiness, sense of life worth, and life satisfaction are significantly greater. But interestingly, anxiety levels are only slightly better than the average. Why? Uncertainty with cash flow and not having enough time to get everything done contributed to their stress levels. However, all in all, life seems to be pretty rosy. So what makes life great for a small business owner? Many said they experience work-life balance and a sense of achievement. NAB research also found customers are the reason thousands of small business owners get out of bed each morning. 34% of SMEs say seeing a customer smile is their most important business moment. To read the full report and see how it might impact how you run your business, go to nab.com.au/insights.
Hi, I'm Scott Shedden.
And I'm David Shedden, and we're from Oz Design Furniture.
And we love small business.
You're watching Kochie's Business Builders. Today we're finding out how to use social media to our advantage. It's so easy to get caught up in the Instagram scroll. But are you posting or just scrolling? We're meeting an interior designer in Sydney who admits she could be doing more when it comes to promoting her business on certain platforms.
So with the accounts that you are using, do you feel like you could be utilising them better than you are at the moment?
Very much so. I am completely underutilising them. I mean, everybody's on social media these days. So, and given that I work in such a visual industry and social media is visual, it really is something that would be a huge benefit to me, and I'm just not utilising it to its full potential at the moment.
So how have you gone about finding your clients so far? Has it been through your website? Has it been through word of mouth or maybe something else?
Yeah, definitely a combination, I'd say. Word of mouth is really important in the interior design industry. Given that it's such a personal relationship that you end up working with, everyone wants you to have a reference point and to be able to know that you can work with that person. My website's also very important. I ensure that it's got up-to-date imagery as much as I can and it portrays all my services. And I actually have had some inquiries through social media despite my appalling efforts at it. So that just tells me that it is something that would work for me and something that I need to focus on.
So you need to make sure that you have a content strategy that's a mix of value, so becoming the go-to person in your industry and really educating and inspiring people with the content that you put out. Connection content, so getting people to relate to you and to want to do business with you over every other person in your industry. And also a little bit of promotion, because you obviously do want people to take that action and actually, do business with you as well.
So Stevie, Instagram and Pinterest are obviously very important to my business, but are there any other social media platforms I should be focusing on?
You're in a really visual industry, so I would say, especially given that you're just one person, I would focus on the platforms where your ideal client are most likely to be hanging out, and that is Instagram and it is Pinterest. Instagram is the fastest growing social media platform. There's 1 billion users on it and 600 million active users every day. So it's definitely a platform that I would focus your attention on. And with Pinterest, it's actually not a social media platform at all, it's a search engine. So the benefit of a platform like Pinterest for you is that you can really start to generate really long-term traffic and attention over time.
So Stevie, what makes a really excellent Instagram post?
That comes down to a few different things. Instagram is obviously a super visual platform, so you need to make sure that you have killer images going out that are really high quality, and I would recommend for you professional photography that showcases not only your work, but also lifestyle imagery and behind the scenes and showcasing a little bit of you as well. The other kind of secret sauce when it comes to Instagram is your captions. Your captions are so important. So when people are scrolling, they first see the first few lines of your captions. So you've got to make sure that you've got a killer hook. You then need to make sure that your captions are really telling a story.
So there's obviously a lot of work to be done, but as like a starting point, what would be your 3 top tips to focus on?
The first thing that I would do is to come up with a really strong content strategy. So make sure that you're putting that value content, connection content and promotion content in and working out how many times a week you're going to post and consistently stick to that. The second thing I'd look at is potentially a professional photo shoot, which incorporates some photos of you and some lifestyle images. And then the third thing is just to schedule it into your diary and commit to actually doing it, because it can be the first thing that drops off when things get busy.
So, as Stevie says, first things first, come up with a content strategy. A professional photo shoot would give Liz a stockpile of photos to work with. And finally, make time to post, no matter how busy you get. Good luck, Liz. I'm looking forward to seeing you on my Instagram scroll and following how business is going. Now to pillars of success, helping you build solid foundations for small business. Daniel Carr is here with some business finance advice.
This week's pillar of success is all about applying for business finance. When applying for a business loan, the more information you supply, the better. It's really important to get your documentation right so your lender can assess the right loan for you. For a new business, acquisition or larger initiative, the first document you'll need to provide is a business plan. This will outline everything from products and services to information about your competitors. Your business plan should try and answer these questions. What do you supply? What's your potential? Where do you sit in the market? And how well do you understand the market? The next important piece of information is your cash flow projection. This looks at the current cash flow situation of your business and how much cash you'll need to operate. You'll need to answer these questions. How much cash is coming in and how much cash do you need to run the business? Thirdly, if you're applying for a secured loan, lenders will secure it with property or other assets. You'll need to provide documents that show ownership of those assets. A lender will also look at your statement of position. They'll look at what you own, what you still owe, and what the difference is. Loans for working capital and smaller loans will be more reliant on the strength of your business cash flow, time in business, and your credit score. Before you lodge your application, it's important to make sure you've provided the right information. At NAB, we have a range of specialist bankers who can provide advice on the options available and the exact details you'll need to successfully apply. NAB also has a business loan calculator to help you figure out exactly how much you need to borrow. It can also help determine the repayments you'll have to make once your loan gets approved.
Coming up, the single mum who turned a breakfast idea into a thriving family business. Her story is next.
Hi, I'm Robert Clifford, the chairman of the Incat Group of Companies. I'm here to give you 3 top tips on business. My first tip would be, know your product. If you don't understand your product, you've got no chance of selling it. My second would be to know your customers. Know what your customers want. Know what their business requires. My third tip would be to know where the product is going in the next 10 years. It's no good selling today's product if in 10 years' time the product needs to be much improved. In Incat's case, we design the vessels to be as economical as possible. So they're my 3 top tips for business success. All the best on your journey.
Have you ever struggled to get your kids to eat breakfast? Well, it was once an everyday occurrence for our next entrepreneur, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise. In an effort to get her daughters to eat well, Cinzia Cozzolino invented Smoothie Bombs, a small business which has boomed.
Basically, I had a problem child that was not eating breakfast, going off to school, not eating lunch, and I'd just become a nutritionist. I had all these ingredients at home and I was trying to work out how I can get it into my daughter without her knowing about it at first. So I combined them, started to put them together, and then I would, as she was running out the door to go to school, I'd be putting the chocolate one was the first one I started with, I'd be putting that into a bottle for her to take off and drink while she was walking to school. It ended up working. Like, I was putting all these great things in there, like nuts and seeds and superfoods, and she was drinking it. And it made me think, wow, this is actually something that would be really useful to a lot of people. Originally, I came up with a chocolate one because that was something that I knew my daughter would like, and most people like chocolate. but I've grown it to have 6 flavours now. I'm working on another 2 flavours this year, so that's the exciting part of running the business to me, like creating all these flavours. My best customer are mums that are just like me, basically having trouble with their fussy eater or are time poor. So mums really love smoothie bombs as a convenient way to get nutrition into themselves and their kids. We had a really funny incident happen. Basically, I had a little distributor in Dubai who really loved the product, and we talked through, as we were growing at that time as well, we were still hand rolling the bombs. She contacted me and said, listen, I've just got an order from the Palace. They really want to get some of your smoothie bombs for Christmas. Can you do it? And it was something like, I think, 1,000 of each tube. We only had 2 flavours at the time, and it was insane because we were hand rolling. It was me and Lana. They're rolling these balls. I remember ringing my daughter in the US going, guess what, we've got this big job. And my daughter saying, Mum, please don't tell me you're going to hand roll them. That's going to be insane. How are you going to do it? I'm like, we can do it. We can do it. So we literally hand rolled all this order. It took us nearly a week to do it. We got friends in to help and packed it and sent it off. It was hilarious because for the first time, I'd created a product that was getting exported, and we'd never done anything like that before. And one of the things that I always say is that as an Australian, I'm one of the first Australians to have sold a bomb to the Middle East. The whole business really is run by me and my daughter, my fussy eating daughter. She is my sidekick, and basically between us, we do all the tasks. So from, I always say I'm like the CEO and the cleaner. We do everything in between. We take all the photos, we do all the marketing, we do all the sales, we do all the social media, we do the deliveries sometimes. And the company is growing, and it's brilliant because we kind of know how every part of it is working. I'm a nutritionist, so to me, I want to get good food into everybody. That's my passion. I'm like the mum of everyone. Like I want to make sure that people are eating well, and I know predominantly fast food doesn't have that. So that's part of why I created it. I knew that we didn't have much time in the morning, and I wanted to get it easy and into people. I think the secret is to be genuine and to actually believe in what you're doing. You got to meet me and you can see that. Like I love it. I love doing it. I love the journey that I'm on. I think that other mums can see that and they want to support you as well.
I love Cinzia's passion and enthusiasm. Despite Smoothie Bombs now being a 7-figure business, it's still run by Cinzia and her daughter. Good on you, ladies. Stay with us. We'll ask small business owners what they really think. It's time for Word on the Street, helping to answer some of your biggest questions. This week, we ask, what do you do to switch off?
I don't really switch off. I'm still early in my business and I actually love working, so I'm still yet to find that work-life balance.
For switching off, I really like to go running. Actually, I run to and from work often, and I think it's a great way of keeping fit and allowing your brain to kind of switch off.
Go surfing, and I guess the only point when you're surfing that you really do switch off is when you actually catch the wave, because before that you're kind of waiting for it, and when you do catch it, you're concentrating so hard not to fall off, then you switch off.
I read and I meditate. I find that's a really important thing in my day-to-day. Just to try and slow my mind down so as I can rest up and be ready for the next day.
I switch off by going trail running.
Switching off for me, it's probably something I don't actually have a choice with because I have to go to my second job. When the kids need dinner and bath and bed, then I don't have an option to have my laptop or my phone on me. So it all goes away at the end of the day and back to being mum.
There's not a lot of switching off. Look, I do meditate. That's definitely a big part of it, but I also started to pick up a couple of extreme sports like skydiving and wakeboarding that when I'm jumping out of a plane, I'm not actually thinking about work. And it's probably one of the very few times that I'm not thinking about work.
Now for Ask Kochie, where you send me in a question, I do my very best to answer it.
Hi Kochie, it's RHONDA and Beck here from Message Point. We're a small marketing and copywriting business in Sydney, and we love the advice that you give on your TV show and your Business Builders website. So we knew that you'd be the right person to ask this question.
Our business model here at Message Point is that we hire highly skilled contractors, copywriters and marketing specialists from all around Australia. So our question for you today, Kochie, is, do we need workers' compensation in place? Are they covered by professional indemnity insurance? And also, should they have separate cover?
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Kochie.
Kochie.
Please help us.
Bye.
Bye.
For my answer to that question and more, visit our Facebook page every Tuesday from 12:30 Eastern. And of course, feel free to throw me any other questions you might have too. How to bring organisational structure to your small business. We visit a homeware store in search of answers. And don't forget, you can catch up on this episode and plenty more at kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au. See you next week.